Hi there. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for the help and support and advice provided. It's been absolutely fantastic, so I really do appreciate it. And secondly, I'm very excited because I've booked another holiday up in Scotland, hence the cap. And it'll be my third visit to the Fort William area, and it's a little cottage I'm going back to. It'll be the third time to this cottage, and it's a beautiful area, so if anybody has an opportunity to visit that area, I would highly recommend it. Anyway, today I'm going to have a go at making a die holder for the mini lathe, and it's based on a design by Steve Jordan, and I'll put a link to Steve Jordan's video in my description. But due to the limitations of the chuck capacity on the mini lathe, my approach to making it will be slightly different to what Steve's was. So I hope you like the video, and we'll see how we get on. So the metric dies that I'm making the holder for are just over 20mm in diameter, and this is a piece of aluminium which is 38mm in diameter by 65mm in length, approximately. Now, I think that this diameter is too big really for that size of die, so I'm going to reduce that diameter down to 30mm. Now that will also give me the advantage of being able to hold the item in the internal jaws, because the internal jaws of the chuck are limited to a maximum diameter of around 30mm. So I can't hold that in the internal jaws because it's too big. So what I'm going to have to do is the initial cutting, I'm going to have to hold this item using these external jaws, and obviously they're very limited in terms of the amount of depth and holding sort of capacity you've got. So I want to limit the amount of cutting I'm going to be doing using those jaws, if you get my drift. So just to explain that a bit better, the internal jaws here that are on the chuck have got a maximum capacity of 30mm diameter, so obviously 38 won't fit in there. So I'm going to have to take these jaws out and put some outside jaws on, like that. So the inside of the chuck is numbered 1, 2 and 3, and these jaws are numbered as well. So I think it's quite important to make sure that the numbers match. So number 1 in there, number 2, number 3. That's pretty close. It's within a thou. So before doing anything else, I'm just going to use this centre drill just to drill a little hole, and I'll use that to enable the tailstock to provide some support to the piece. So a few things to note here. I've got a life centre off my wood turning lathe, so I've attached that to offer some support to the piece, and I've locked down the carriage, and I've put a tip on this right hand tool specifically for aluminium. I got it from Banggood. So I've never used that before, so we'll have to see how that works out. So I'm going to take off 10th out at a time. I can just about get into here to clean the face up, and once I've done as much as I can and cleaned the face up, I'll then reduce this side down to about 30mm in diameter. Well, I must say I'm very impressed with this cutter. It's done a cracking job there. So I'm going to do some more work turning the diameter down here as well. Well, I must say I'm absolutely over the moon with the way that cutter's worked on this aluminium. Fantastic. I'm really impressed. Look at all the swarf. So what I've decided to do is to follow the same process on the other side, but what I'll do is put the inside jaws back on the chuck, and that will be able to hold the piece a little bit better. Well, it occurs to me I've just had a bit of a senior moment. What I did to reduce that diameter is I used the compound slide. Now it has actually worked. There's no taper on it, so the diameter is consistent throughout the length, and it does prove that the compound slide is 90 degrees to the carriage. However, I think what I should have done is I should have cut it using the carriage and probably using the power feed. So that's what I'll do to reduce this diameter. finish on that is absolutely amazing. Okay, so I'm now going to use the centre drill just to put a small hole in there, and the idea will be we're going to drill a hole right down the length of this. So this is a 5mm drill bit for starters. So the problem I've got here is this 5mm drill bit isn't long enough. So, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to have to switch this round and try from the other end. So I need to drill a hole right through here which will accommodate this bar to slide up and down. Now this bar is 9.48mm, so I've got a 9mm drill bit in here, so we'll see how we get on. Well, I must say I'm very happy with that. So the idea is to open this up so it can accommodate this die. Now I have opened it up a little bit using a 12mm drill bit, and the idea was I was going to use this boring bar that I got in a kit, a high-speed steel one, and it just won't fit. So I think I'm going to have to buy another one. So once I've got that, I'll get back to you. Well, the boring bar's arrived, and I got this from Associated Production Tools Limited up in Glasgow, and it looks pretty good. So I've put one of these inserts in that is specific for aluminium, one of these Bang Good ones, and I'm going to put it in this holder 250-002, and I'll centre it up and see how it works. So I've got a carriage stop on here, and I'm just turning the carriage manually, and I'm cutting at 10th hour at a time. Well, that's the first time I've used a boring bar, and I must say I'm really impressed with it. Brilliant. So now I need to drill 3 holes. So one for each of those and one in the middle. And I need to find the centre of this piece. Now the actual diameter is 29.4mm, and the edge of this centre drill is 2.4mm in diameter, the thin a bit down here. So 2.4 millimeters in diameter divided by 2 is 1.2. So I need to half that diameter, 29.4, which is 14.7. 14.7 take away 1.2 is 13.5. So I need to move this 13.5 to get to the centre. So I've zeroed the y-axis. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13.5. Now the screws to hold a die in place need to be slightly to the left of this centre, so to pull the die into the face, if you get my meaning. And I calculate that the holes to be drilled should be 3.6 millimeters from this edge. Now bearing in mind that that's 2.4 in diameter, the centre drill, half the 2.4 you get 1.2. 1.2 plus 3.6 equals 4.8. So I need to move the x-axis 4.8 millimeters to the right. So I'll lock both the x and y axis. So I think we're good to go with this centre drill, so we'll just give it a try. It's also worth noting that the piece is flush with the side of the vise. So now I can turn the piece round and I know that my measurements are right, both on the X and Y axis. So I'll be using these M4 cap head screws. So I'll be tapping an M4 thread there, so this is a 3.3mm drill bit. So I'll work out where I need to drill the other two holes, and I'll drill those and then I'll get back to you. So I've decided to use this 8mm aluminium bar to enable the bar to be pushed through and help rotate the die holder. So what I'm going to do is I've just used the centre drill to mark out the two holes I'm going to be drilling, and first of all I'll drill with a 5mm drill bit, then 7.5, and then I'll finish off with an 8. Well, that worked out very well. I've cut some bar. So that's aluminium. It just nice snug fit, and the mild steel goes down in the middle. And all I need to do now is to shape the end of these cap head screws. So the middle one needs to be quite pointed, and the outside ones need to be less pointed. And to do that, I've just put a couple of nuts on one of them. I'll hold that in the 3-jaw chuck and I'll just shape the end. Well, this is the end result, and I'm very happy with it. That slides on nicely there. Got a short handle here, which you can turn it around. Alternatively, if the piece that you want to put the thread on is in a vise or something like that, you just take it off and put a long handle through. Well, that was an exciting little project. I really enjoyed it. So what have I learned? I suppose, firstly, use the carriage feed instead of the compound feed. I think that was a bit of a senior moment, to be honest. Secondly, the boring bar works great. Very happy with that and the result it produced. Thirdly, having clocked the piece into the lathe chuck, I didn't find any problems with accuracy when drilling the hole from both sides. It just seemed to be perfect, so I'm really happy with that. And also using inserts specifically made for aluminium just made a whole boatload of difference. Really impressed with these. They were only £8. And I suppose lastly, I mean, the feel and movement on that is brilliant. But I think if I'd had some lapping fluid or something like that, it may have helped. I just used a bit of fine grit. But you can tell that the fit is really good because you can actually blow it out. Oops. So, really happy. Anyway, if anybody's got any suggestions in terms of how to do something like this properly, I'd very much appreciate it. If you like the videos, please subscribe. And thanks for watching. I really hope you like the piece. I love it.